When I think about a father who is actively engaged in their children's life, regardless of whether you're in the home or out, I think of someone who's number one is an example, but also you're a teacher. While it's the responsibility of both parents to teach, I think that it's incumbent upon fathers to actually take the lead in that regard. Because I think we provide a lot of the structure. We're the ones teaching them life lessons. We're the ones that are instilling character into them. To be able to be good at these things, you're not going to be the more popular parent. We have to do a lot of the dirty work to establish order. It takes us being willing to sacrifice our popularity with our children to be that present force in the family. This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatrey, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
Listen, by the time people will have listened to this, man, Father's Day will have come and gone. But I wanted to talk about this. This is something that you've been passionate about over the past few years. But again, we're going to share our thoughts just in terms of just our thoughts, fatherhood, all that good stuff. But I came across an interesting article. Black has it, and I want him to read 2 paragraphs just to kind of set the tone.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure he's not going to say I'm good?
It's not a question. Well, I am asking him to read it, but I'm asking him to read, not to tell him why he
words
feels.
he gives the people.
Okay.
You know, the people.
We done, Gat?
We're done. I'm going to let it go. I promise.
Okay.
So this article is by CBS News back in 2018. What does it say?
Well, the title of the article is Father's Day Dads Gets Lot Less Than Moms. Okay. So Father's Day spending is forecast to reach $15.3 billion this year, according to the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insights and Analytics. While that's just a tick below 2017's record of $15.5 billion, it's dwarfed by the $23.1 billion consumers were expected to shell out for Mother's Day this year. The findings from 2 separate surveys of more than 7,000 consumers each show that 77% of Americans plan to celebrate Father's Day and 86% plan to celebrate Mother's Day. Average spending on dads is expected to be $133, well off the $180 people say they spent to honor moms.
Does that make that sounds about right to you?
Yeah, the numbers are a little higher than I anticipated.
For the men, for the fathers.
Yeah.
Okay. So that serves as kind of a backdrop.
So we're on an uptick.
Well, depending on what year it is, it's down from the prior year. I guess my question to you is, this is something that you as a father, been a father, 10 years now? 11?
How long have I been a dad?
How old is your oldest?
He's 10.
Okay.
He's going to be 11 this year. Whoa.
Yeah,
Decade dad, stand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've been,
I never thought of it like that.
But
yeah.
you have been feeling this way for
Hold on now.
What?
Hold on. I'm really 16. If you really want to get analytical.
16.
Yeah, 16 years a dad guy.
I don't know what.
You got to add my other son's age. I'm a dad to him too.
That's not how that works.
Hey,
but if that
I'm
makes
cooking
you feel,
the books over here.
I hope no
you
one
got ingredients or a plate.
I hope no one audits those books. What I'm saying is that you have been feeling this way for a minute.
Yeah.
Why do you think dads, and then again, it's I'm not saying that moms shouldn't be celebrated the way they are, right? So let's just put that to the side. But why do you think dads aren't as celebrated as it pertains to moms?
Because I'll start from a cultural perspective. Culturally, Black dads just aren't present. So, like, that's a huge ego shot, number one.
They aren't present?
Culturally. culturally, and I'm talking. We can stay with the numbers philosophy here. So yeah, and shout out to Malik, one of our former guests. He even expertly broke down what that looks like and how disparaging those numbers can be. But so there's that, and then we look what, I don't want to use this term, Walker, but look what dads, in terms of this day, celebrating this day, are competing with or competing against. We're competing against a species of humans who have the ability to grow other humans inside of them and to produce said humans. And so in our world today, I mean, yeah, it deserves a lot of respect. It deserves a lot of honor. It deserves a lot. So when you think about that, and you think about what all moms are to kids, and how you can, more times than not, you can bet on that mom being present on that child regardless. Yeah, I guess, from a consumer spending standpoint, it makes sense to honor that financially more than you do the dads.
Okay.
I'm not saying it makes any of this right, but I just think surface level, that's how I assess things. And it's mom. I mean, come on, Walker. I know how you feel about your mom.
Well, yeah, but
it's mom.
I get that.
Let me ask you this. I'm cutting you off. Forgive me. Let me ask you this. Did you and your dad slow dance at your wedding?
No.
I didn't slow dance with my dad either. Who did I slow dance with? You were there.
No, I wasn't.
You didn't come to our reception?
I wasn't invited.
Who did your wife slow dance with?
Her dad. Y'all calling? Is she calling in? Did she call into the podcast?
No.
Oh, okay. So she's not present for this conversation.
You make it seem like the dad doesn't get a dance at the reception.
No. I didn't say that. I'm asking questions. I'm the inquisitive.
Today.
But I'm not saying dads don't get a dance. But think about it, man. Think about it.
Who walks her down the aisle?
The dad. But I'm talking about slow dancing. I'm talking about practice. Walker, think about this, man. I'm going a little selfish here. I'm turned up on this.
We've noticed. Go ahead.
Are you?
Okay, I'm kind of turned up on this.
Really?
Think about socially you'll have a different experience because you got a girl. I got 2 boys.
Sure.
You know what I got to hear about? Mother-son dances. Mother-son dates. You ever hear about any father-son dances? Father-son dates? Father-son outings? You hear about them? Do you hear the schools promoting them? Do you hear Chick-fil-A doing a promotion on them?
I hear father-daughter.
Right. Keep going.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But moms get everything.
So mommy gets mommy son, mommy daughter.
Again, I'm being selfish. I'm looking under my lens.
Okay.
Okay. So
That's fair.
it's not fair. It's not.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Sure?
I'm positive. Okay. But dads are never going to compete with that. We're just not. And y'all know what I said a couple years ago on this very same podcast. No one cares about Father's Day, and it's the truth. The numbers back it up. So no, I'm not even gonna go there. But
You went a lot of places. You've gone a lot
that's
of
one place
places.
I'm not going.
Okay.
But you've seen the consumer impact of Father's Day or lack of impact. The social impact's the same. Okay.
In terms? In terms of?
It's never gonna compare to moms. But that's my social assessment. Okay. Social. When it comes to, go ahead, I gotta let you talk.
Well, I was gonna ask you, does that mean that fathers are less significant or important?
No.
Okay.
I think, no. I know fathers have a deeper meaning. I know they do. Okay. I think Father's Day should mean more than it does, but I also can understand why it doesn't.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I agree, but I understand.
Okay. You have thoughts, Black, about this? About why it seems like Father's Day is less of a big deal as opposed to the holiday?
The only thing that comes to mind for me is that men desire that attention less than women. It seems like with women, they need more validation as far as being a parent and being celebrated than the men.
Okay.
You got something you want to say, Gat?
No. Keep going. I want you to keep going.
No, I don't think men desire it as much as women do. Like women look for that sort of attention. Men just hold their head down and do the work.
Gat, would you like to speak? Would you like to speak to that?
Or finish fixing that microphone stand.
Shout out to Libby Lassiter. I'm going to share the mic.
Man, we don't have any sound effects for you, man.
Yeah, I think that I just think that there's a corporate push just behind women in general. You know, I had Black read off an article or some points from Forbes not too long ago that talked about women accounting for 70 to 80% of the spending power. That's so multifaceted in and of itself, because even if a woman isn't buying for herself, she's buying for her children, she's buying for her husband. So even if the product is not even for her, it's still marketed to her in some way because she's influencing that decision. That decision goes through her since she's doing a lot of the buying of products for the household, right? So when you think about how it's so much easier to market to women than it is to men in that regard, right? There's some things, obviously, men, you can market to men, but for the most part, even for men, some of the things that's marketed to us, the motivation is a woman. Cars, some of the things is like the attention you get for certain things, the motivation still be behind that. A woman is influencing that in some regards. So it's so much easier to market in light of to women or about women or for women, which means when you put these holidays neck and neck and you consider how companies can profit, it just makes more sense to get behind mothers in that regard. It's a much larger push, even though we understand the significance of fathers and why they matter just as much. And it's not even so much that, again, not to downplay the significance of moms, but again, we understand our roles and what's required of us as fathers. Why do you think fatherhood is why is fatherhood so important to you, or what has it meant to you?
When I think of fatherhood, I think of foundation. And y'all forgive me, we're going to church for a second. But I think of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I think of prominent male figures that are there for a reason. And I think of the impact, because you're not going to be a father without children, right? We can all agree to that. But I think about the impact of that child who really makes you a father. Once that father is removed from that child's life for whatever reason, it is clear that there's a good chance that kid is going to be negatively impacted.
Sure.
Now,
there's studies that bear that out.
This is not to say that the mothers are any less, because I'm not insinuating this, but we're talking about fathers right now.
Sure.
And you think about and I'm taking an average dad in this example. You think about what an average dad provides. Ideally, he's coming out of the mold of a husband, but even when he's not, he is still very much needed in that child's life, very much so. Am I answering your question?
What does fatherhood mean?
Yeah. So the root of my answer was foundation. What's a foundation built on?
What is it built on?
Yeah. Just think cosmetically. What is the foundation of your house built on?
I mean, you're talking about what's beneath the surface.
Yeah. Dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad's got to do the dirty work to provide and establish a foundation. You gotta get dirty to do that.
Okay.
Anybody clean building a house lately? So that means spearheading uncomfortable conversations. That means being on the front lines of protecting your family.
Mm-hmm.
That means, have I said making the hard decisions already?
I don't think you have.
Okay, making the tough decisions. That means doing a lot and getting very little in return. Dirt's everywhere. Do we ever thank the dirt? Just walk on it.
So you get walked on as a dad?
You do. Yes. I mean, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but like, think about this mere comparison we're talking about. Compared to Mother's Day, we get walked on. Am I right? Do we need to read the numbers again? We get walked on compared to Mother's Day.
Okay.
Mother's Day is a day that everybody knows when it is. Father's Day? Yeah.
So foundation.
Foundation. Sorry, I was about to veer off. Thank you.
That's
So
what
yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
So yeah, and I'm loving this analogy I'm building. But Walker, let's keep it in context of a house. Remove the foundation. What happens to the crib?
It's not going to stand.
You're up next, Black.
You want me to tell you how it feels to be a father?
No.
Sorry. You're up next, Walker.
No.
I got carried away there.
No. You were doing right.
Yeah.
You were doing right. We know you're not a father, Black. At least you think you know. I'm just kidding.
I don't want those books audited either.
No, but you have been perhaps a father figure. You have close friends who are fathers. So regardless of whether you have a biological child in the earth, you've played the role or have been close to people who have played the role. What has been your observation of fatherhood and its significance?
From what I've witnessed and experienced is being a stable force in a child's life.
Yeah.
You know how in situations, kids can get emotional. There can be emotional situations within the household, but that father has to be steady within that situation. He has to be able to be the disciplinary in some cases. Like sometimes, you've been in probably a situation like you do something and your mom just say, wait till your dad get home. And you know how much weight that has?
Sure.
Yeah, those are my things. And being providing guidance. I've seen like my friends be able to like provide guidance when their kids come to them and give them like sound advice based off experience, based off of talking with other men, like try to guide the kids in the right path.
Yeah. Good answers, man. Good answers.
Even mine?
Yeah. Foundation, I take it. Huh? I don't know what you're saying. I'm not.
Got a microphone, man. Use it.
I'm not lip reading tonight. Not when there's a mic in front of you. For me, I would say that when I think of fatherhood, that there's several things that comes to mind. You guys have kind of touched on some of them, but I think of from the vantage of an engaged father. It's not enough just to be a father, even if you're in the home. And I will elaborate on that as we get further into this conversation. But when I think about a father who is actively engaged in their children's life, regardless of whether you're in the home or out, I think of someone who's number one as an example. Because I think this group of kids, even with us, we knew there was something wrong when there was a disconnect between what our parents said versus what they actually did. We may not have had the liberty to call it out or say anything about it, but something about that didn't sit well with us. Well, the new kids, it ain't flying, period. Right? And I think the further we get away from prior generations where children really couldn't call that out, I think as parents, as fathers, it's very important that we be a positive example. Because a lot of the lessons we learn as children, as in our formative years, it was caught. It wasn't necessarily taught to us. So a lot of things that I do today, my dad never said to me, "Hey, son, you need to do this, this, and this." I watched and observed him do some of those things. So being an example to me is very important as an engaged father. But also, you're a teacher. And I think that while it's the responsibility of both parents to teach, I think that it's incumbent upon fathers to actually take the lead in that regard. Because I think we provide a lot of the structure. We're the ones teaching them life lessons. We're the ones that are instilling character into them, right? So I think of a teacher when I think of a father. I also think of a person who provides safety for them. And again, these are to be able to be good at these things. You're not going to be the more popular parent as a result of that. I think sometimes that may even play a factor as well, because to your point, we have to do a lot of the dirty work to establish order, to establish principles into them, to build character into them. That takes a lot of dirty work. And it takes us being willing to sacrifice our popularity with our children to be that present force in the family. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily for them to be afraid of us, but there's to Black's point when he talked about the mom saying, "Wait till your dad," there was a reverence and a respect you had to where when he gets involved, you know you've messed up. So I think that there's a respect that comes with being a father because you're the one upholding the authority in the house, right? So when you speak, even the presence of your voice gets their attention. I'm pretty sure you can relate to that with your kids.
I don't know what you're talking about. As quiet as I am.
Who said that?
Nobody.
The people.
My fans said
Your
that.
fans, yeah.
All two of them. So that's what I think about.
Okay.
What has
That's
been
pretty sound, by the way.
What has been, and we're drifting away from Black. Right? Black can't speak on this now.
Oh, he'll prefer it that way. He's good. He told me earlier this podcast.
What has been your goal as a father?
Ooh. My primary goal is to provide a functional example of what a spiritual foundation looks like in their life so they can know the importance of having some type, selfishly, yeah, I want their faith to go a certain direction, but knowing the importance of it. Knowing and understanding that there's a whole world out here that's bigger than you, and having some type of guideline upon which to go about your life. Now the second thing is something that I'm gonna sound so bad because I don't pray for number one as much as I pray for number two. But number two is something I've always wanted since we found out we were having children. I want to build a I keep saying foundation. Gosh.
It's an established term. You can use it.
Okay, cool. I just don't want to overuse it. But I want to be that person my boys can come to regardless. Like, I want to be able to be open and receptive to the toughest of conversations. But also, I want to make sure I'm leading myself or leading them effectively enough to where they know, oh, we can go to dad with this.
That's good.
Yeah. So I had a terrible start at that. Terrible.
What do you mean?
Well, I was I wanted a lot initially when I became a father, and I put a lot of that pressure on my oldest son before he could even take a dump. They take dumps pretty quick.
I was to say, so,
Yeah.
the first few moments of his life?
First 4 inhales of oxygen. Hey! Say that for effect, obviously, but
I kind of believe you.
I wanted too much too soon, and I didn't know the best way of going about that. And at the time, I didn't realize that I set the tone for that. I was putting all that on him. Hey, I'm going to be this type of dad. You're going to be this type of son. Rawr.
You growled at your children.
Sound like he's summoning the Thundercats.
That's why he looks at you like that.
Right.
Did my dad just growl at me?
But YG, man, I'm still, and I tell him this now, I'm open with him, but I'm still in debt to him, man. Like, he had such a rough start because I wasn't in a good space as a man, number one, and number two, as a father. I had no clue what I was doing.
Well, who does when it's their firstborn?
True. So, but I mean, it sounds like I'm beating myself up on this, and I don't think I am. I'm just being real. I'm just trying to answer the question.
Fair.
But like, what selfishly I desire, what I'm praying for is that like long-term relationship with them. Sure. I don't want my boys. You're gonna have your crew. You're gonna have your guys that you talk to different things, or people that you talk to different things about than you talk to your dad. That's cool. I'm not taking that away from you. But if there's ever anything, I don't ever want to be that dad where it's like, ooh, I can't tell him because he's gonna growl at me again. I didn't know how to go about establishing that though.
Gotcha.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So those are the two biggest things.
Okay.
But I tell you, Walker, I don't know how to articulate the third one, but it's based on the principles of my boys defining what manhood is by looking at me.
Okay.
And they're simple things, man, that I see almost on a daily basis of actions they do, of things they say, especially my youngest. Lord have mercy. And I'll call him out like, dude, where'd you get that? And my youngest will tell me straight up, oh, Dad, you remember when you said this? Yeah, you're right. So it's like that reflection. I want to be a better, I want to be a human reflection, of course. Flawed, absolutely.
Right.
But in terms of focusing on the flawed, I want that reflection to be, okay, look, my dad's not perfect, but he's trying his best, and he's a really good dad. So I just want that to reflect on my sons.
Character?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
This is going to be a really short recording.
No, character is important.
Because what I mean by that is...
Oh, were you trying to put a word to number 3?
Right.
Oh, yeah. You can define this.
Because what I'm saying, character, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to say and do everything right.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Correct.
So you're not modeling perfection for them.
No.
You're modeling character.
Yes.
So, and I think modeling character, just go with me here. When I model character, it's actually something that's achievable for them. So if they see dad say and do everything right, which sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves.
Oh, 100%.
If I model perfection for them, they already know I can't live up to dad.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm going to let that. But if they see dad make mistakes, but they also see dad model accountability, owning his mistakes, making adjustments and changing, acknowledging to even them that he messed up, but uses that as a teachable, you're modeling character to them.
Yeah.
So in other words, when confronted with truth and confronted with where I am, I have the character in me to make the adjustment.
Right. If I could, I'll give you 2 examples that played out recently.
Okay.
My my oldest, he's about to go to middle school, so he's just like,
That's crazy.
I know, right? But he's morphing. So like, he may say 10 words a day to me because I'm just not cool or whatever. We're there.
Well, wait a minute. I thought he now always say 10 words to you every day.
Yeah, he's not the talkative one. My youngest is.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so I'm putting my oldest just out of the equation, but my youngest, he is, all jokes aside, highly inquisitive.
Okay.
And so he caught me one morning, came home, drenched, everything. He's like, Dad, why are you always so wet when you come home? I said, Son, because I've been to the gym. I said, Dad, what's the gym? I said, Dad, that's where Daddy goes to exercise. Daddy, you have to exercise every day? Yes, son. You know why? Because when I was your age, I made bad health decisions, and now I gotta pay for them. So that was So I'll put a temporary pause there. So he's like, Dad, do I need to go to the gym with you every day? and I'll say this, and this is gonna really just
That was
really
actually your answer to him.
Yeah.
You're so extra. But go ahead.
Okay, it's a lot of truth in that. So he asked me if he needs to go to the gym every day, and I said, well, no, son. I was like, you're young, you're active. Just as long as you stay active and you make, good health decisions in terms of eating, you may not have to go to the gym every day like Dad has to do. And so he says, if I don't go to the gym, will I get a tummy like Daddy's? I said, well, no. My 6-year-old, yeah, he's just gonna let him fly. You gonna let him fly. So, and again, modeling character, I can't be offended by that.
It just catches you off guard, right?
But we've created that, and I say we because my wife is involved in this too. But we've created that environment to where he can be free with his thoughts.
Sure.
And even if it hurts a little bit, okay, know that you're going to do that in this environment. We don't want you to go talking about other people's tummies outside the house, but.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to put boundaries
on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you want to talk about how big Dad's stomach is, let me tell you how I got there. And let me tell you the things I didn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that. And then there's stuff like I caught my oldest son. We were walking somewhere and he was the first to the door. And he opened up and let my wife walk through. And my wife wasn't expecting that because, again, my oldest son's in a weird phase right now. And so she asked him, why'd you do that? He said, oh, because Dad does that for you. So I feel like I need to do it too. So it's just like, to me, that was a huge win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, these little knuckleheads are watching.
So you never told him to do that.
No.
He caught
But
that.
he's been paying attention. I'm thinking like, and they try to kiss on my wife and all that stuff. And we have to fist fight, but it's cool though. A little bloody. But they're emulating the behavior they see me do with her.
They beat you up?
Yeah. It's 2 of them.
They beat you in your tummy.
Right, they know exactly where to throw the first punch. But yeah, character would be a great way to sum that up for sure.
All right. What has been your goal being a father of boys specifically? What I asked what was your goal as a father? What is your goal specific to raising boys, black boys?
To educate them on self-identity.
Okay.
To again, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but just go with me here.
It's been the big theme of our pod, but go ahead.
Okay. But validating their feelings.
Okay.
Having them to be more confident in their feelings. Doing simple things like say what it is that you want. Even if you're not going to get it, voice it. You have a voice, your voice means something. And I think the culmination of just those things shapes a well-rounded, confident, maturing man. And that is all fueled on a lot of missteps that I had in my maturation that, as you've seen, have started to turn here in the last few years. Selfishly, my desire, I don't want my boys in their 40s figuring it out. They're gonna figure some things out, but as we talked about, especially lately in this podcast, and you shed light on a lot of things. The one recurring theme I've had in my head is, man, if I'd known that at X.
Yeah.
So my thing is for my sons, I want them to know that at X.
Selfishly, that's been one of the things I've used this podcast for, as me talking to my younger self in hopes that younger guys will hear this and it helps them. So the lessons that we're talking here should be easily transferable to your boys.
For sure. And with my selfish desires for them, I'm thankful for the internet because like having this content out here, these are, y'all know I write letters to my sons, and that's going to be okay. But like no one in years in the future, even when they have kids, like, man, my dad was on here with this dreaded guy spitting knowledge. You know what I mean? So it's just like, so I echo that.
Yeah.
And I dare to say that's not even selfish, because if it is,
no,
it's selfish for me too.
It's paying it forward.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
really paying it forward for the next generation.
So I want to embody that for my sons first and foremost, but then also for any other young man who happens to stumble across my path or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can we do this? So Walker, as a girl dad,
I was hoping you would go here.
Yeah, we're gonna share. Libby told me.
Libby taught me. Go ahead.
As a girl dad, Walker, I want you to just, because I have this conception in my head, and I get in my feelings a lot.
What's your conception?
My conception is, generally speaking, boys, for the most part, are going to gravitate to their mom. I'm even guilty of this. I talk to my mom every day that she's not traveling overseas.
Okay.
Still salty about that. How is it on that side, having a girl? Is it like I think it is, where it's like, daddy, 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 daddy? Yes, it is. I'm going to answer for you because I've called you before, Walker, and I've heard your daughter all up in your business.
Yes.
Climbing on your desk and everything.
But she does that to both of us.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you finish.
She does that to both of us. The dynamic right now is, because my wife is the nurturing one, and I'm nurturing too. I'm very affectionate with her. She gravitates to her on a very nurturing, emotional level, right? She give mom kisses, she give mom hugs and all that. Right now, I'm the fun parent. I'm the one she goofs off with. I'm the one she plays around with, so on and so forth. So she's like, her silly part comes out when she's around me. And those who know me when I'm not being serious about life know that I can be a silly person.
Yeah.
So when I'm with her, I mean, she sees me in my element at home, easygoing. For those if you don't know that about me, really am easygoing, and she feels that. So every time she sees me, she does this thing where her mouth gets real big, and she's ready for me to like chase her, do whatever, right? I am currently the fun dad, the fun parent, right? However, that's going to change. I know that's going to change. So I'm enjoying this moment because she's still very young. So a lot of things I'm trying to, she's observing, but things ain't sticking yet with a 1-year-old. But as she gets older, I already know fun dad has to go away. Doesn't mean I'm going to be mean, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to be mean to her. But my goal for her, because, one of the things that's been the expectations of us as fathers or girl dads is treat her like a princess. And in some cases, I've heard people talk that I've heard it been said that sometimes that's perceived as being an amazing father in place of fathers who weren't there for their children, right? Give her the world. I know that by doing that, I will have failed her. The goal is not necessarily to treat her like a princess. The goal is to raise a good human being. So I have to see her as a human being. I can't see her as daddy's little girl. I have to see her eventually as someone's husband. I have to see her as someone's employee. I have to see her as you see what I'm saying? I have to look, how would I want her to be when I insert her into these life situations that me and my wife encounter every day when we encounter people? She needs to be a good human being, which means I have to, in order to have a good, healthy body, you have to work at it daily. So the work comes as she gets older, and I know she's starting to become more aware of stuff. And my goal in supporting that goal is raising a good human. Seems very baseline level, but there are certain things that I have to do. Number one, she needs to see a good home environment, which means number one, she needs to see her father and her mother get along extremely well. She needs to see me give my wife affection. She needs to see me and her mom laughing and talking. She needs to see me and her mom on the same page. Conversation I'm going to have my wife. I thought about this today. I was thinking about the pod. I'm already going to talk to her. We've talked about this before, kids, but I'm telling her now's the time to put this in place. If she comes to me asking me to do something and you have told her no, or if your mom if you've already talked to your mom, I don't care if I don't agree with you, talking to my wife. If your mom said no, it's a no. And then I'm going to explain to her why that's a problem. I'm explaining to her why that is a problem. And I expect the same in return, right? In other words, in this environment, we're not going to teach you to be manipulative. That's manipulating. You're going to manipulate situations to get your way, even though you know you're not supposed to do that. We're not going to teach you how to be manipulative at a young age. We're going to break that from you very, very early in life. You're going to get used to hearing no, because life isn't about you. And that's going to be very tough with a young child who everything has taught them that it's about them. So that's a sacrifice. So I already know as a father, there's an expiration date on me being this fun parent. She's not even going to understand. Like, there was one, I had to do something and she wanted me, she's in this stage where she likes to play in the sink, play in the water, right? I couldn't pick her up. I had to do something, right? Normally I let her play in the water, whatever. She cried and I just sat there and looked at her. Because she's got to start getting this, that just because you want to do something when you want to do it doesn't mean that you can do it. So you got to get used to not getting your way. Because the last thing I want to do is to see you grow up and now you're an adult and you're interacting with men and you're used to getting your way. And I think that's one of the things as dads, many of us have dropped the ball with our daughters, is even though we love our daughters, we've been good to our daughters, we've given them the world, so now they feel entitled to it. And they become insufferable for somebody else's son out there trying to interact with her. So she needs to understand that it's not about her. And that as she grows up, she's going to have to learn how to be a good teammate in life, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, friendships. She's going to have to learn how to play her role, right? So again, from a character standpoint, she has to see me and mom work together. She has to see me and mom be good teammates. So the environment is important, but teaching her these life lessons, being a teacher. I like to talk. I like to teach. I'm a teacher a lot of life lessons out of all sorts of things. I can find an analogy in anything. You know this from listening to me.
Big facts.
So anything that happens, I can talk to her just about life. And I think the whole aspect of things not being about her is going to be important. I remember my mom talking to me, Gat. I used to have a bad temper when I was little. Bad temper. So I remember playing video games and I was losing. I get mad, pick up the card, just throw it across the room. Right? And I remember my mom came downstairs and she saw the video game and it had a crack in it. Still worked, but had a crack in it. She was like, what's going on here? Of course I told her. And I was like 6, 7, Gat. Right? This is so long ago, but I remember this conversation as though it was yesterday. And my mom told me, you're going to grow up one day and you're going to go into this world. You're going to have a girlfriend. You're going to have a wife. You can't haul off and go off on her like you went off on that game. You're in trouble with us because of this, but you're going to be in even bigger trouble if you grow up as an adult and lose your temper. You're going to have to learn how to control yourself. Yet that message to this very day has stood with me, and it has kept me out of some bad relationships. Because when I felt someone pushing me to that boiling point of anger, I knew I'm in an unhealthy situation. It's kept me out of unnecessary stuff.
Right.
I want my daughter as an adult to recount conversations that she's had with me over life lessons that I'm projecting the future as to how this will look when you become a grown woman and how this can prevent you from experiencing the best of life. I'm going to be a teacher to her. So that's my goal. I want her to see me love her mom, be an amazing husband to her mom, which creates a beautiful environment for her to grow up in. But number 2, I want to be a teacher and provide that structure for her. I want her to be very knowledgeable. Also, again, relationship with God is important because I think that sets her value system in major ways instead of having to build it from scratch. So obviously she's going to see us. I mean, even now before she goes to bed as a 1-year-old, we pray with her. She puts her hand together. It's cute to see. But she's going to have that foundation for her. But ultimately, when all is said and done, again, she's going to have character, but she's not going to be perfect. And there's going to be plenty of teachable moments for her. But I want her to be a good human being, which means we got a lot of work to do with her. So, hope that answered a lot.
Yeah. What's something you didn't anticipate thus far in your dad journey, specifically about being a girl dad, that has come to fruition?
One thing that I didn't anticipate?
Yeah. I could feed this question more if you need me to.
I'm trying to think.
Okay.
What is one thing that I didn't anticipate? I didn't anticipate. Oh, this is a good one. I didn't anticipate how defensive I would be about her. And this is something that me and my wife talked about. So if she's at the age where she's getting in stuff, and babies can do stuff so quick. Like, I had this idea that she wouldn't fall around us. She wouldn't hurt herself. Right?
Oof. Yeah.
Right?
How'd that work out? Yeah.
So I remember my wife was like, "What happened? I ain't do nothing." She's like, "I didn't ask you." And so I was like, you're right. You didn't ask me that. But what I didn't anticipate, the root of that is the guilt when something doesn't go as planned. I didn't anticipate the guilt that I would feel or the defensiveness that I would feel about the situation. I think that's something every parent kind of deals with in their own little way. But when something doesn't go as planned, I'm trying to deal with, okay, do I take that personal? Do I take that as a lesson learned? Like, how do I deal? And the initial instinct is to feel guilt for sure, because again, she's defenseless. I'm here to, you know what I mean? So that's one thing that I didn't. I hope I answered that.
Yes,
but that's one thing
yes.
I didn't think I would be here this quick with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How would you grade yourself
Ooh, as a dad?
as a dad? How would you grade yourself in terms of
D-.
in terms of the goals you set for them and where you are?
D-.
Why you say
I'm
D?
passing. I can still walk across the stage and get that diploma.
Well, why D-?
Dude, I have so many things that I have to correct.
Is this guilt?
This is guilt.
Is this the same thing that I'm talking about?
Yeah, but it's guilt rooted in truth. It's guilt rooted in reality. And I can deal with this truth, Walker. I can deal with this guilt.
I want to hear more of this because again, this is what I felt when when the daughter fell. You know what I mean? I understand this. So talk to me about why a D- instead of a C-? You know what I'm saying? What's the difference there?
He's dramatic.
Is it D for dramatic?
That's good though.
That is good. Why a D and not a C? Just because.
I mean, I'm just saying, is there some objectivity here? Are you being objective or are you only looking at the things you're missing? What about the things that you've done right?
The thing,
or done well?
The thing, which is why I think I'm passing, not failing as a dad.
God.
What?
He's like,
That's what kept you from not graduating, the good things?
He's like, my kids are still alive, so I passed the minimum requirement. Yeah.
Yet. The finals are coming, so I don't know. They may.
I still think I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do. Is there a lot of reconciliation? Yeah, but there's also still things in my present tense that I need to work on, and these are heavy, heavy things. Like I'll give you an example. One thing I'm dealing with now is my boys got baptized earlier last year. Gosh.
Time's flying.
When did 2024 start? When my boys got baptized, in me taking that time to try to teach them, I realized just how spiritually weak I was. Because the questions from the kids were simple. Some of those questions I couldn't answer.
Like, why get baptized?
Right. That was one of them. But, me trying to, because I'm telling them about the body.
We need a camera on Black.
Yeah, we do. I'm telling them about the body of Christ and how important it is. But what did my youngest son ask me? He asked me the very simple question. I couldn't answer it in reference to the body of Christ. And I was like, ooh. But, I'm pleased at how I handled it. And I was honest with him and said, hey, son, look, I don't know. But we're going to figure it out. My follow-up on that has been terrible. It has. D-.
On that test. Really was an F. But
I mean, it's just.
But I don't know if that in and of itself gives you. That's one example.
Well, yeah, but we're gonna weigh this out fairly over my 10 to 15 years, 16 years of being a father, cumulatively.
That's not cumulative. But go ahead. If I was to ask your wife what grade she would give you, what do you think she would say?
I'd be shocked if she gave me any less than a B.
Why?
Because she, especially within the past year or two, has been so vocal and so verbal about, in her eyes, how valuable I am to them. Because she sees things, she sees a lot more value in the things that I do. The consistency is another thing she harps on. My boys don't like it. This is another thing, and this is a therapy thing. But like when I pick them up from school, they're like, oh, "Where's mom?" I'm like, "Dang! If I was an A plus dad, it'd be like, oh, dad's here. Let's turn this thing out."
I don't know if that's true.
I'll give you another example.
I don't know if that's true.
I do sporadic Dave and Buster's things or whatever. I mean, it's not on a scheduling thing, but I have it budgeted for at least twice a month. But how those twice, whatever. Take them to that. Oh yeah. That's incredible. So we get home. Hey, guys, y'all want to tell mom what we did? Oh, we didn't do anything. Oh yeah, we went to Dave and Buster's with some random dude. It was all right. A plus dad doesn't get that. That's what D dads get.
So as he talks, we're beginning to see why this scale exists.
That's why I was rolling my eyes at Black with his opening comments.
Okay.
Talking about how women need that more. No, we need that information too.
I didn't say need. I said desire.
We desire that information too.
You desire.
I think dads want that. They want that affirmation. They do.
As much as women?
I don't know if it's as much as women, but they do.
Hey, I'll give you this dap back.
Use your inside voice.
I don't know how you give me that back.
We do it
without dapping me still. I don't know how you do. Seriously, like the reason why I say that is you understand. Okay, what if you don't make a big deal out of Mother's Day for your mom? How would she respond?
I think she may put 2 flowers on my tombstone, but probably 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Black, you called your mom the next day after Mother's Day. How would she respond?
My mom would be chill about it.
That is why he said okay at the beginning of the episode. I think that's where he gets his personality from. But you understand my point.
Yeah.
Moms are a lot more serious about that day than we are, even though we still desire that validation for sure.
I would just say that my mom knows the child that she raised, and she knows how I feel about her and how we communicate things. So like if I miss a day or something like that, it's not a big deal.
That I am going to agree with one thing he said this recording. That right there is something I write about pretty frequently. Is as a father accepting the fact that your kid's never going to be what you want them to be.
In terms of
we've idealized what our kids are going to be. You got to shoot for something. So I'm not saying it's unhealthy.
Sure,
but they're never going to be that. They're never going to be that. Your kids are going to charter their own path.
Sure.
But they're never going to be exactly what we want them to be. My daughter's
going to be really close.
Okay, well, I'm realizing that with my oldest son.
What did you want him to be?
Dude,
A A instead of a D. No.
No, I'm not grading my kids. But I mean, I'll just give you one example. Like the countless hours we spent playing basketball. Now he comes, he's like, oh, I don't like it. In building that and spending them hours in the gym, I'm like, okay, well, he's not gonna go NBA.
Okay,
fine. But he gonna hoop for somebody.
I give you that. But again, remember what my goal was. I want a good human being.
Of course.
Sure.
I'm talking surface level. My child's going to be the number 1 draft pick, finish first in his class at MIT. We all want that as parents or something similar to that. We all want that. Okay. So I like what Black said because as I mature as a father, I'm starting to become more open to the reality that no matter how hard you try, your kids are not going to be 100% the way you want them to be. 100%, there's no way.
That's fair.
And that's okay.
That's fair.
Because I got to look in the mirror. I know I'm not 100% of what my parents wanted. I know that.
Sure.
Doesn't mean I turned out bad.
Sure.
But I'm sure they had other desires for me.
Sure.
So I want to be fair because I want to hear you before we wrap.
Well, what I would say before I go is I think that it's somewhere in between a D- and at least a B for your wife. And I would lean closer to your wife's grade.
Well, who asked you?
Because I think
Me technically, but
right. And the reason why I would say that is me knowing you have a tendency to be a lot more tougher on yourself.
100%.
So I know it's not a D-. There are some D- dads that don't even do a fraction of what you do.
Well, thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
So I understand why you would give yourself that grade because you're pushing yourself every day to be better. Right? So I respect that. But I think at the end of the day, this goes into one of the reasons why we think fathers should be celebrated more is because you're not a D- dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't take your kids for cake and ice cream or buy them stuff when they make a D home. They bring a D home.
True. That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you believe that fathers should be acknowledged for the things that they do, big or small, then we have to understand that you're hitting that honor roll. You're hitting your benchmarks. You're not perfect, but you're hitting your benchmarks.
Gotcha.
For me,
thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. You know, it's I don't know. I don't even know if I've reached midterms yet. So I got some grades. But I don't know if
you're a 2-year dad.
He just enrolled.
I just enrolled.
You're a 2-year dad.
I just got here.
You're halfway through your first trimester.
See?
Semester.
What are you going on 2-year dad, right?
I mean, I'm going on year 2. Yes.
Okay.
We've completed 1 year.
Seasoned vet. You're gonna give yourself a grade.
I am. It's tough though. I would say maybe a C plus B minus, somewhere in there.
Because you don't have the body of work yet.
Yeah, it's just
small sample size.
Small sample size, and then my wife would probably strongly disagree with me here.
She's gonna give you A plus.
I don't know about A plus, but she probably give me a higher grade than what I just gave myself.
Gotcha.
The reason why I say that I'm still finding my way. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like I'm in the dark.
Oh gosh, that's real.
See what I'm saying?
That's that's the realest thing you've said in the past 4 years. I can't really
say thanks. I can't say that. Oh, I'm an A. You know what I mean? Hope that makes sense.
You did. That resonated.
It's tough for me to just say, oh, you know. So, yeah, I would give myself that.
Dad's in the dark. Love it.
That's not the title of this episode, by the way.
That could be slightly misleading.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay. Well, good talk, man.
Yeah, man. Good
Listen, man,
too.
for those who listening, happy Father's Day to you guys. Regardless of whether they rolled out the red carpet or not for you, you are celebrated here. We see you. Keep doing what y'all doing, and we appreciate you. Keep it up. Keep it up. Thanks again for tuning in. Guys, you already know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, share this, smash that like button. And also on social media, that's IG, that's TikTok, that's Twitter. Follow us at the THA Tipping Point. Tipping Point?
Oh, you said Twitter. What is that?
Twitter. At the THA. Don't break my flow. I'm trying to get out of here so you can get out of here, man.
Okay.
At the THA Tipping Point, one word. That's on X, TikTok, and IG. That said, I'm Caesar Walker. He's Ronnie Gatrey. That guy behind the camera is Black, and we are the Tipping Point Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in.